I really thought this would be Drake May in Washington. It sounds like that's what it's going to be. Chris, sounds like you're closer to Jayden Daniels being the top quarterback than, closer to the rest of the group. There are other people, football analysts in the draft community who like Jayden Daniels as maybe the top guy. So you're kind of in that same boat, huh?
Yeah, and honestly, I'm about there with Drake May. But if I only got one, I probably would take Jayden Daniels. I just think his size, his ability to process and put pressure on the defense. I mean, I watch matchups every week. I can't do everything, but when you see the ability to run from the quarterback position, it forces defenses to put a fifth plug in that thing because there are 5 gaps in there, right. And so you got to either be able to tackle them with 4, or you've got to fill it. So you either have to spy or pressure, and when you pressure, you end up with one-on-one passing opportunities down the field. And I can remember when Lamar Jackson came out of Louisville, and I wasn't sure about that pick, and obviously nobody else was either, because he didn't go till the last pick in the first round. But you go, all right, is that going to work? Can you really be a pocket passer runner from the pocket and still be accurate enough in the pocket to make those kind of plays? Well, now he's a 2-time MVP, so the answer is obviously yes. So right. Fool me once, right? Now I'm sitting here looking at the guy, and I literally cannot watch him play without going, this is Lamar Jackson. Maybe he's not as fast or as great a moves or whatever, but he throws the ball pretty darn well. He throws it over the middle well. He's going to get those one-on-one throws. It's not going to be as hard as what some rookies have to face with these zone defenses and multiple looks and spies and all the different things. He's going to get the simplified version of that. It's the reason I think that of these young quarterbacks, I don't know who will have the long-range success, but if you said who's going to have first success, I think it's going to be Jayden Daniels.
That Cliff Kingsbury connection, if this is what ends up happening, how do we feel about that? And do you believe that Kingsbury being that offensive coordinator has swayed them one way or another for potentially who they might pick here at number 2? Because a lot of people look at what Daniels has been at LSU and specifically the style in which he dominated this past year. Not only the rushing ability, which you mentioned, but also the fact that Jayden's offense at LSU was very spread out. It was very outside the numbers. He only had, I was looking it up, Jayden only had 30 attempts this year in the intermediate middle of the field, 10 to 19 yards down the field between the numbers, which is, some offenses were really predicated on attacking the middle of the field. Cliff Kingsbury, when he was the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, from 2019 to 2022, they were ranked 23rd in the NFL in passing attempts in that area. So they just don't do it. Like Kingsbury his offense is much more natural to what we saw at LSU. Do y'all think that has a heavy, who the offensive coordinator is? Is that something that has a heavy leaning into who they might have selected and why it might be Daniels?
My bigger question, I think, for the Kingsbury thing is, how has his offense changed since the last time it was in the NFL, right? Because he, on the one hand, demonstrated that he was perfectly willing to adapt his offense. Remember, right away when he came in, it was like pure air raid, 10 personnel, empty sets, 4 wide receivers the whole time, and that lasted like a week. And he was like, okay, that doesn't work in the NFL. I'm going to have to change. We dumped the 10 personnel. We became an 11 personnel team. And he made some very quick changes to understand that what he did needed to change at the NFL level. But then he stopped changing it. Then he's like, no, I think now I have what works. And he didn't evolve the system. And I think he was leaving a lot of meat on the bone in terms of sort of free, easy yardage, easy plays that a lot of NFL offenses take for granted. So has he figured that out while he hasn't been there? And is the offense going to change? And then you get to the idea of which guy is now best fitted for whatever current version of his offense is going to be.
Well, Steve, I do want to go to you because you talked about you'd rather have Drake May at this spot, but it is in fact Jayden Daniels who is the pick here at number 2 overall. So Jayden goes number 2 overall to the Washington Commanders. You'd have taken Drake May here. I would have taken Drake May here. The PFF big board would have taken Drake May here.
That's a shot.
I'm going to keep making that joke all night. You and the PFF board. So how do you feel about this now that we kind of just had the Cliff Kingsbury conversation of the offense might be really in tune to what Jayden does well? Does that help out this case, even though you like Drake more as a prospect overall?
Yeah, I mean, I like Jayden Daniels too. And, to go back to kind of what Sam said in the history of the Kingsbury offense, there was a point when he had Kyler Murray, I think it was year 3, when they finally let Kyler run the ball a little bit more, and they used the designed run game. And Arizona was actually pretty good at running the ball with their spread sets, and then they added Kyler, and that was when they made the playoffs, kind of tapered off a little bit toward the end of the season. But they used Kyler Murray in the design running game. And so I think, to Chris's point too, Jayden Daniels basically has this high floor because of the running ability right off the bat. And I think, if Kingsbury remembers that's what we did well with Kyler Murray, that fits well. And then you talk about Jayden Daniels throwing outside the numbers to Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson. It is a fit as far as here's the personnel that's outside receiver driven, and a run game that can lean on the quarterback from a run game perspective that puts a ton of pressure on the defense. We had this conversation with Anthony Richardson last year.
Yeah.
Richardson had these accuracy issues. He had all these things to work on, and it's like on the way we could run the ball and just exploit defenses.
Right.
Jayden Daniels doesn't have those issues, right? And he does work through progressions. He is accurate, and that's why so many people liked him. So I'm fine with Jayden Daniels as a prospect, and I think it is a good fit for Washington.
I think you're seeing now that the floor is higher with mobile quarterbacks.
Certainly
right? There's just, while you are working on the passing game stuff, you just have the ability to be an aid to the run game. Like you said, it can be an instant thing while he's figuring out how to become the best passer at the NFL level.
Plus, I think that guys who are head coaches that are also defensive coordinators, like Dan Quinn, they hate running quarterbacks.
Gives them that,
they hate running
nightmares.
quarterbacks. So they want to put somebody on the field that they hate to try and defend.
That's true.
But one thing specific to Jayden Daniels, how scared are you of how he runs the ball and the number of plays where he becomes a crash test dummy? Because he's not built like Josh Allen or even Lamar Jackson. They, I think, are similar weights, but
Lamar's beefed up since he got into the league.
Jayden Daniels is thin and takes some absurd hits when he runs the ball.
Yeah.
That would scare
The playing style is a huge one because, again, the Lamar Jackson comps have come for a while now. I know Lamar got hurt those 2 seasons. I think those were more freaky than anything. He was really healthy at Louisville. He was really healthy for the majority of his NFL career. Lamar Jackson is really good at avoiding big hits. He knows how to not get hit. Historically, there are quarterbacks who are not good at that. RG3 was not good.
Like RG3.
Right,
yeah.
RG3, Michael Vick. Anthony Richardson, he's got the big Josh Allen type of body, but he's not good. He lowers his shoulder and gets hurt. So playing style does matter. Jayden Daniels is closer to the guys who tend to, be the crash test dummy, as you said. So I do think he's got to be a little bit smarter with the ball.